I look absolutely ridiculous today because I'm actually doing my hair for a tutorial right now and I went to bed like this, so I'm apologizing for that because it's a little bit distracting. But anyway, so today is Monday and it is about 10 in the morning. It's a little bit later than normal when I wake up. It's 10:07, but it is Monday, so I wanted to do a coffee talk with you guys. So I got a request a little while ago to do a coffee talk on relationships and my experience with them and what I think about certain, types of relationships. But the issue with talking about this topic is that it is so broad that it might just go on forever. Except I don't think I can allow that to happen because I don't have very much battery left on my camera. I have been in 4 different romantic relationships in my life. My first relationship kind of began when I was in, I think it was about 8th grade or so, which is a little bit young when I think about it now, but it wasn't out of the ordinary and it wasn't unusual. Since it was my first relationship, everything kind of went a little bit slowly because he was my first and I didn't know what kind of experience to gather from it. That relationship turned into a long distance relationship because he moved to New York. And I was stuck here in Washington, and we decided to keep dating. But because we did that, I found a whole lot of heartbreak that I did not need to go through. First 2 weeks he was in New York, he decided he wanted to be with somebody else, and his sister told me that he was, seen making out with some other chick, and I got so mad and so hurt. And that feeling is never going to escape me. Just that feeling of dread that you feel when you know something is wrong. I took him back, and that was something I regret doing to this day just because we were so far away and circumstances made it so that I didn't trust him anymore, and you can't be in a long-distance relationship and not trust the person you're seeing. So he eventually moved back home, and we were still dating at this point. But because we'd spent so much time apart, the relationship had changed. There was something fundamentally different about it. And it was probably because both he and I had grown up a little bit. I wanted to break up, and I didn't know how to do that. And so I told him that I wanted to go on a break for a little bit, and he seemed to understand just fine, like it was no big deal. But I think my wording made it sound like it was something that I needed to figure out for myself and that I would get back to him, and that never happened. I just kind of went on and jumped into my relationship number 2, which was not really something I would consider to be a relationship. It was 2 months and it was all physical, and it was just a friends with benefits relationship. I think in the long run I was kind of not as deep into that relationship as he was, and it made it very, very difficult, and there were obviously feelings that weren't being reciprocated, and I ended up going to Greece, and where I met boy number 3, but also I had some kind of fling with some guy over in Greece, and that didn't really go anywhere because it was a fling. Boy number 3 came into the picture, and we dated for about 7 months. Boy number 3 ended up raising the bar for all of my relationships after that because he did a lot of things for me that I was never used to being done for me. And because of that, I ended up falling hardcore for this guy. And he was like the best thing ever in the entire world, and I couldn't get enough of him. But he got busy. He was a busy bee, and he was doing all kinds of clubs, and he was commuting with me to Seattle. The relationship came to an end, and I was devastated because I didn't want it, and he did. So we broke up in November, and I met and started going out with Blake on December 13th. So it was about a month, maybe a little bit more than a month, after boy number 3 and I broke up, that me and Blake started going out. Me and Blake's relationship started developing, I think, pretty slowly compared to relationship that I'd been known to be in the past, but I wanted it that way because I wanted to kind of break the cycle of what I've been doing beforehand. We've kind of settled into this routine. I get coffee in the morning, and I wake up, and he plays on his computer, and then I go to babysit. We have a pretty scheduled routine set out, whether we want to admit it or not. But other than that, everything has been going very, very smoothly for us, and I don't know, I'm comfortable, and I'm not regretful of anything so far in this relationship. I don't know about him, but...
So far?
So far? What? Hey! I don't know how to talk about our relationship. I don't know how to talk about any relationship that I've been in because I don't know what people specifically want to know about relationships. So, like, number one rule of relationships, don't get into a relationship with someone you don't want to get into a relationship with. But that being said, date around. Dating is good for you. It's good for the soul. Number two, don't convince yourself you're happy when you're not happy. So number three, that leads me to good communication. In any relationship, you need to communicate, and you need to effectively voice your thoughts and your opinions to the other party, because otherwise you're going to be stuck in a rut that you won't know how to get stuck in, or unstickify yourself. Number four, don't try to convince yourself that there has to be a time schedule for which things develop. For example, don't tell yourself that you won't sleep with him until a month into your relationship, because you don't know what is going to be, what it is going to be like in a month. You don't know whether you're going to be ready before that or after that. Don't give yourself a time, because relationships aren't really measured in time that you've been dating or been together. Regardless of what other people tell you, it's not worth it to measure your attachment and your lovingness to another person on a time scale, because love isn't measured in time. It's measured in how you feel about somebody else. Blake says don't go out with crazy. If there are any red flags that come up, and everyone has a different set of red flags, you probably shouldn't be in a relationship that has an abundance of red flags, right? No abundance of red flags. Red flags are bad. Unless your relationship is set up so that you can date multiple people at once. If you are in a polyamorous relationship or an open relationship of some sort, if another party gets involved in your relationship, whether I'm talking about like either physical cheating or emotional cheating, if somebody gets too attached to somebody else outside of the confines of your relationship, I think that gives you a right to reevaluate the relationship. And this is coming from experience. You might want to make that relationship work some more. You might want to somehow get past that. If you find yourself tempted by an outside party, or if you find yourself in a situation where you might be tempted by an outside party, either remove yourself from that situation and physically go somewhere else where that will not happen, or break up with the person you're with. The grass is not always greener on the other side, and sometimes it's worth staying with the person that you're with over somebody else, even if you're tempted by them. You don't know what relationship could come from being with that other person. There might not be a relationship like the one you have right now ever again. I think the biggest thing that you need to take away from this video and the rules that I listed out for you is the fact that I think the biggest one is communication, and you have to be willing to talk to your partner, because your partner can't read your mind as much as you hope, but it just won't happen. Communication is key. Communicate with your partner. So I finished my coffee, and so I think that is going to be the coffee talk for the day. I'm going to put a link in this corner down below for the week before last week's coffee talk, because last week there wasn't one. Are there any things you want to add about relationships? No?
Just stop being stupid.
Blake says don't be stupid about a relationship you get into.
Stop being 13.
Don't be 13. If you're 13, don't dive into a relationship like I did, because that's just dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. Date, sure, go on dates, but...
Also, you don't know anything.
You might think you know stuff, you don't know anything. Yeah, basically. Anyway, I'm gonna go, so I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and make sure you check out the links down below for more videos. Bye.